Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening and giving me this opportunity to meet with you and talk to you a little bit about applying to grad school and your statement of purpose. I know that this can seem really daunting, and it's a big part of the application process that requires your time and attention versus submitting documents for things you've already accomplished. And I hope that by the end of this, it will feel like something that's a lot more approachable. It's a topic I really like to talk about. Because hopefully by the end of this, you can look at what your passions and your goals are and figure out how to apply that to paper. Next slide, please. Oh, they're going to come up one at a time. All right, so what is a statement of purpose? And Amir talked about this just a little bit, but a statement of purpose is really the opportunity to show who you are and who you are as a student specifically as it applies to the program that you are considering. So your statement of purpose is an opportunity to be specific, to talk about what your research goals are and how they fit to that individual institution. Often a statement of purpose is not going to have a prompt or a guideline. It is going to be either we require a statement of purpose, or in the example that Amir showed, talk about your professional educational accomplishments and how they fit into the program. This statement of purpose is really important. I know for UMKC, we as an international admissions office, we collect all of those documents in one place and we submit them to the academic department. And for us, the departments will often say, if an application is stuck, if we have everything except for the statement of purpose, you can push it onto us. But what that does, it means you are only your transcripts. You really aren't anything else. There's no opportunity to really stand out in terms of who you are and what your goals are and how you fit into the program. How long should it be? So you'll find that in the US, we tend to be very specific. We have a lot of rules, structures, and deadlines. If they tell you it should be 1 page or 2 pages or 1,000 words, make sure that it is. If it's too long, it may not be read at all. If it's too short, you probably haven't covered the content in the detail that they're looking for. So keep in mind that as these are being reviewed, it could be 20 essays they read, it could be 100 essays, 500 essays. So you stand out. If you have done it correctly, they will read it, they'll go through it, they'll note who you are. If you have done it incorrectly, they may not read the whole thing. They may find that you're incapable of following instructions, which may be really important to them. So at least take comfort in the guidelines that are given to you and follow them and know that you are meeting already part of the criteria of what they've asked for. And who reviews it? Typically at the graduate level, it is going straight to faculty. It is going to either a faculty committee or an individual faculty person for that particular program or emphasis area. But what that means is you can be specific. I don't know about a lot of the categories. I'm not a PhD in economics or engineering or biology. So it's not me that you want reviewing those statement of purpose essays. It is someone in your field. It is someone who is going to know exactly what you're talking about when you get excited about your research field and what you're looking for. Next slide, please. So for content and structure, you do have an opportunity to tell us who you are, but whereas a statement or a personal statement could be, you know, one time I found this bird, had a broken wing, probably not, but it could be. It could go off topic if you're meeting the prompt. But for a statement of purpose, when we ask you who you are, we're asking that in an academic or research context. We want to know your background and your goals. We want to know who you are as a student, a professional, a scholar. Is very specific in that context of who you are. But that also gives you the opportunity to be more than your transcripts and test scores. What is your passion? What gets you excited about your field? What are you hoping to do or discover? Who are you hoping to work with? What do you want to accomplish? Versus I got an A- in this particular class and a B in another. It really gives you that opportunity to stand out. And a lot of these departments that are reviewing your application are going to admit holistically, which means if you didn't do well in a class, they're not just looking at that class you didn't do well in, they're looking at your entire academic career that you've submitted to them and your statement of purpose, which means you can overcome a weakness with who you are and what you hope to accomplish based on what you've written and how you fit within that program. So that goes to the second point of demonstrate that you know who we are, that you know the university in which you're applying to. So a generic statement of purpose is super obvious. We can tell when you've taken out the university name and put in a different university name, and it's just a general overview of what you hope to accomplish. I want to have an MBA. We can tell when we read it, the faculty can tell when they read it. So that does mean extra writing on your part, but it also means that you should be very intentional about where you are applying and why. So when you demonstrate that you know that, for example, UMKC has a specialization area in the exact thing that you're interested in, you know that, you looked it up, you know who the faculty are who are teaching and researching in those fields, we know that you are applying to the university on purpose, not just because you want to come to the US and get a PhD. You picked this school on purpose because of what we're doing, and you will contribute positively to the program as well. So at the graduate level, we're often looking for a mutually beneficial relationship. You're looking to get a degree, you're looking to expand in your specialization area, you may be looking for funding, and we're looking for students who are really going to excel and push the limits on this program so that we're accomplishing good, novel research. We're accomplishing things together as a team with faculty and their student assistants. You could be assisting in labs or classrooms, but at the grad level, especially for the PhD, because you could be together for a while as you complete your own research, you want to prove that there is value not only in what you intend to accomplish for yourself, but what you can accomplish within the department with the university. And so that's where you have to take the time to look at the faculty, look at the research, look at the labs. As you go through this process, let's say you have a list of 10 universities out of hundreds you could be considering, you may eliminate some. You may find they don't have what you need in the lab, or you may find that the faculty have published something so specific that you get excited about within an emphasis area that you know that this would be a good fit. As you get into the specifics of the program, that is your opportunity to stand out. That is your opportunity to show that you know exactly what you're talking about, you're prepared to take on the content, and you're prepared to take on the challenges that come with graduate level study. This means too that we won't end up with an essay, for example, that says, you're applying to my biology program at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and you're super interested in marine biology. We are very, very landlocked. We do not have access to the things that you would need to accomplish those goals. So this is your opportunity to show us that you know exactly what you want to do, why you want to come here, how it's a good fit. You've taken the time to know who we are. Next slide, please. So as you do this research, your essay should sort of come together on its own. It's going to make more sense when you know the details of the institution as to what we're looking for. So look online, it should all be available. And offices like mine and Amir's, we can help you if you get stuck finding that content. So look at the departments, what are they researching? What are they publishing? As you get into that, if you can't find that topic, it may not even be taught there. So you know that professors are going to teach to what they're passionate about, to what they're researching. Know that those things exist that you need. Know that the lab tools are in place that you need. Know that the books and resources that you need are available there. And as you get into those details, it will help you describe why this institution is a good fit for your goals and how you intend to utilize them. So not just the department pages, but admission office pages, websites can be really helpful as well. We'll often try to collect important information for you, details about the essays or deadlines. Contact us. I saw that already there was a question about reaching out to faculty. So some institutions will tell you not to specifically, but most are open to having you reach out to faculty. I will say that sometimes these emails get buried. Sometimes they don't see it or they don't have time to respond. But that's where this essay is really important. This essay will get in their hands. They will see it if they're the ones reviewing for the admission decision. So I wouldn't be afraid necessarily to reach out to faculty. And if you're having trouble finding who to reach out to or finding those department profiles, that's where the admission office can come into play and we can help get you connected. But there is an opportunity to communicate with faculty. I think most of the time you'll find that they're very responsive, especially if you have given them a reason to respond. So if you write, "Dear Professor, I want to come to the US and I need a full ride, do you have any money?" They get a lot of emails like that, but it's not going to get you very far versus, "Dear Professor, I saw your recent publication about blah, 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 and I'm very interested in that because I'm hoping to do whatever it is you're hoping to do." And then as you develop that relationship, there are opportunities to explore what funding may be available. But if you get the statement of purpose right, and it's a good fit for the faculty, they're going to set it aside and consider This could be a student that's really going to be good in my lab. This could be a student that's going to really help push me forward in the research that we're accomplishing as a university. So while that communication could be important, an email could be a good idea, don't cut short the time you spend working on this statement of purpose, because that could be your real way in to open a conversation about funding. Next slide, please. So do's and don'ts. Be specific, be very specific. As you get into, say, what you've studied, what you hope to do, and I've read, like read what they've published. This should be something that you're excited about. Read what they've published and apply that to your essay. I saw that Professor so-and-so did this thing or presented in this place, and I watched it online, or I read the document, and here's why that's important to me, or here's how that fits with what I hope to accomplish. Here's what gets me excited about the opportunity to work with that person. As I mentioned before, do not create a generic essay that you will submit to multiple universities. We can tell. Do not copy or model exactly something that you find online, because we can tell. But hopefully at the graduate level, you are going to start writing based on something you found on the university website and get excited. That writing is going to come easier when you can be specific. Make sure you aren't talking about your goals in marine biology for university that's in a desert, or like we are, we're in the Midwest and a broadly farming and open land area. We're not going to be able to help you with some of those specific things. So know that by being specific, you are accomplishing good things. Also, don't exaggerate or make assumptions about the capacity of the university to meet your goals, or even what you can accomplish at the university. These people that are reading your essay are going to be experts in their field. They are going to expect that you know what you're talking about and what we can accomplish together in a realistic way. They will know if something is overblown. Next slide, please. So we mentioned this a little bit already. How is it different from a personal statement? A personal statement can go a little bit off topic in terms of what your academic world looks like. Often, and Amir had this as well, they'll ask you about a time that you were challenged or had difficulty. And what they're looking for more or less is that you have the capacity to reflect on things that are difficult for you and go forward. Because at the graduate level, a lot of what you do is going to be relatively independent as compared to what it may have been like in an undergraduate program. There is going to be more freedom for you to pursue different research or activities or presentations, but a lot of that's going to be your own directive. So they may be looking at how you respond to things that are difficult, and it doesn't have to be in a lab that applies to your program. For a statement of purpose, it is looking for that mutual beneficial relationship. It is looking for very specific information. They don't necessarily want to know about the time that your soccer team lost the championship because of a self-goal, something like that. They want to know exactly who you are as it relates to the academic program. Next slide, please. And that's it. That's what I have, but hopefully we'll be able to cover any more details that you may have questions about as we go forward. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mary. That was really excellent. And I really want to emphasize a couple of things that Mary brought up real quick before talking about Boulder. And one was that most institutions are reviewing students holistically. So a lot of what you've heard right now might be very intimidating or daunting, and you think like, oh, how am I going to write these essays or figure all of this out? But I would like you to also maybe look at it as your greatest opportunity. I'm assuming most of the students that are joining us here are probably, unless you're a very eager, first-year university student, you're further along in your educational career. Maybe you're in your final year, you've already completed your undergraduate studies. So you can't change your GPA. You can't necessarily, maybe you can retake a GRE test, or maybe the department doesn't ask for a GRE. So really, this is your opportunity to make yourself stand out, and think of it from the lens of kind of like the admissions faculties. They're getting a slate of applications in front of them. Let's assume all of them have relatively strong GPAs, all of them, that they're considering among their final batch, have strong GPAs, have attended strong institutions. Everything else is generally the same. What is going to make you stand out from the rest of the other applicants that might have studied just as well as you have and have just as strong of grades. And another thing I bring up is I see many, many cases of students who have top GRE scores and top GPAs be rejected over students that have lower GPAs or lower GREs, but those students have much clearer statements of purpose that are much better fits for the department. That's particularly true at the PhD level, where, as Mary said, this is a long-term relationship. Most PhD programs are typically 5 years in length. That's like a marriage between you and your faculty supervisor. So, you need to make sure that you have a good relationship with them, that you have a good fit as much as you can beforehand, and by doing that background research.